finding educational treasures within the classroom using today's technology, GPS, GIS, and geocaching. My name is Courtney A. Story, and I am a MAT candidate at the University of Arkansas at Monticello. What is GPS? GPS, or Global Positioning System, is a space-based navigation system that provides location and time information in all weather conditions, anywhere on or near the Earth where there is an unobstructed line of sight to 4 or more satellites. And that is a picture of a satellite. Here are some GPS facts. The technology itself first began back in the 1960s as a transit satellite navigation system. GPS, as we know it now, was formally developed in 1973 for exclusive use with the military. In 1993, GPS was opened to the general public. Originally consisting of 5 satellites, GPS now contains 24 satellites that orbit around the Earth. In the upper right-hand corner, if you will notice, there is a standard GPS system. And how a standard GPS system works is you set your beginning point, and then you can walk or run a distance, hike, climb, whatever you choose. And then when you get to a certain location and you decide to turn around and go back, it can tell you the distance you've traveled. It can tell you how to get back to where you were, a lot of other things. It gives you coordinates and everything else. So let's discuss what GIS is. This is a term that I was not familiar with coming into this program. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I have learned. GIS is actually Global Information Systems. It's a computer system designed to store and integrate data from navigation systems such as GPS and make that said data available for analysis and interpretation at the request of the program user. By sending radio signals to the satellites, GPS can pinpoint any location on the globe. So someone can take that information and then they can relay that information back. So say a business, maybe a book company, is fixing to release 2 new books, and they want to try to figure out where would be the best place to test those 2 books to see which one's going to sell better, and they can only release 1. They can take a small community, and if you look at the diagram there, you see the real world. And this one kind of gives elevation and land and everything, but you can use it for anything. So this is just a sample. And what they'll do is they can take demographics of that area and show who purchased that type of book, or maybe a similar type of book, and then the publisher wants to target that area to market this new book to see which one's going to sell best. And based on market research, they can determine which one would indeed be the best one to release in that area. So GIS works with the system, the GPS information, to give the program requester exactly what they're looking for. Here are some GIS facts. The first system was created in 1960 for the use by Canada's Department of Forestry and Rural Development. In 1986, a desktop version was released for personal use. This included maps with different layers of information on a particular area, like we discussed. But without GIS, GPS cannot be used to the full potential that we use it today. Now this is something, just kind of a side note. I felt it was really pertinent as far as educators go. This is my son Parker. He just completed the 7th grade at Star City Middle School. And as I was sitting here studying, working on my project, he asked what I was doing, and I told him, and so we were discussing the topic. And I was very intrigued to learn that in their 7th grade social studies class this year, they discussed GPS and GIS, which, it's modern age, and that's going along with topographical maps and different locations and how to do coordinates. I understand that. However, I was really disturbed by the fact when the words boring, not fun, but it really could be, stood out. He said that he understood why we used it and that it was something that could be very useful, but it was boring in class and it was not fun at all, but he thought it could be. And so we discussed geocaching and how it could make that concept fun. So when you add GPS plus GIS, you do get educational fun, also known as geocaching. On the left hand of your screen, you'll see a Garmin with geocaching sites, and in the middle is just a basic app from your phone with some geocaching sites. So I am a geocaching newbie. I know absolutely nothing about it. I do have an avid friend's wife who is big time into geocaching, but I never really discussed it with her because I don't know anything about it. So this has been a very interesting project for me. And I chose this topic because I thought, well, if nothing else, it would give my family something fun and different to choose to do on a weekend sometime. So we're going to learn a little bit about geocaching. Geocaching, the what, when, and how. Geocaching is a new activity, partly treasure hunt and partly outdoor exploration. It began about 10 years ago through human creativity, the internet, and a GPS. The concept is actually fairly simple. You have one person who puts together a cache or a treasure in a container, a waterproof container, and then they upload the GPS coordinates where they hide this container to a website for another geocache to find. And this takes place all over the world, even here in southern Arkansas. So, reviewing 2 websites for this project, I chose the Arizona Game and Fish Department, and the title of the webpage I looked at for this was GIS, GPS, and Geocaching in the Classroom. This was a very interesting page, and it was very educational, related, and offered a lot of resources. One of the most important statements on this page was that geographic information systems is one of the most important technological developments in modern times. Organizations of all types and sizes have seen the benefit of mapping data to better identify, analyze, and understand relationships, patterns, and trends. Biologists and scientists use geographic information systems all the time for tracking animals, for tracking maybe disease. So I can see where it's very beneficial to them to use GIS. This page offers a lot of professional development opportunities. They offer opportunities for groups of people to come on site, as well as self-paced studies for professional development. They had educational resources galore. They had ebooks, they had educational lesson plans, they had all kinds of GIS maps, they had GPS and geocaching links. It was an awesome page to visit. They did not have a lot of data or a lot of information on actually starting to get into geocaching. So that's the only drawback to this site I found. And here's their website. The next website I reviewed was the Royal Society Advancing Geography and Geographical Learning. One of the most important points they drove home on their website was technology is an integral and growing part of daily living in the 21st century. And we all know that. The challenge then is for teachers to use technology effectively inside and outside the classroom to help students take ownership for learning and develop the practical and critical thinking skills necessary to better understand the world around them. And this can relate to any content area that you would be focusing on through your education and once you are in the classroom. They provide a great explanation of geocaching in detail for newbies. Lays out the case for geocaching education from start to finish. I think there were 7 or 8 actual cases where they gave arguments, and they even provided examples. And this is their website. Geocaching in education. This is where we can relate it to Common Core, some things that, we could do in our classrooms with our students. In math, you can make abstract concepts real and relative. In social studies, you can use trackable items to help students explore other cultures. In physical education, you can use it to promote outdoor adventure. And in language arts, which is my content area, you can use individual creativity to deepen thinking skills to create fables about an item in the cache. So what I would probably do with my students in the classroom and to incorporate geocaching is to work maybe with a social studies teacher, and for our 2 classes to work together using the coordinates in a GPS and an area cache. And let's track that cache and find that cache. Open the cache up, and depending on how many caches were inside, maybe divide up in groups of 2 or 3 with each cache item, and let each student take that item and either write a fable or a story, or just give a really descriptive essay about that item. The case for geocaching in education. It can be carried out in a range of locations, both urban and rural. Can be made a challenging activity for girls and boys alike. Critical thinking for both. Students will learn how to use maps and coordinates, therefore focusing on their cartographic skills, which are techniques that use a base map or an outline map to show relevant data. It allows students to integrate GPS and GIS technologies, which, as modern technology has advanced, let's face it, students know more about our phones than as parents do. It offers a range of opportunities for peer assessment, whether it be critical thinking or what they've included in their cache or just anything like that. And it can help with self-confidence and team building. You could do it as an individual cache find, or you could do it as a collaborative effort and divide up into teams for them to track and find caches. That concludes my presentation. I would like you to please take a moment to read my reflective paper and provide any feedback. I hope you take something away from my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.